What's
No, I
up?
did not get a haircut. I showered.
Don't worry, guys. Yoav is just taming the hair. He's just taming the curls.
Just staying in the hair. It happens to me all the time when I wash my hair, where people are like, "Did you get a haircut?" Like every time I show up to some kind of school event after school, or like I showered in the morning, everyone's always like, "Did you get a haircut?"
No,
No, I didn't.
you know when Yoav gets a haircut because the
Yeah, you
sides
know
are
it. Yeah, because it always looks so awful, and then it
Yeah.
and then it grows out well. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's how I do them. I don't know if I've ever. No, I've definitely went on the podcast post haircut
Yes. Yes, for sure. In the early
in the early
podcasting.
days. Maybe if you guys are new, you might find that look back.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't know me at all, I'm Yoav Akiva,
I'm Melina Nazarian,
and this is One on One Ratio Pod.
and I have
Tonight,
matcha today.
damn, tonight we're talking about a David Cronenberg film.
Yeah. Um,
What movie is it?
Videodrome.
Uh,
I don't know if I
Um,
regret choosing this for the podcast or not, but
wow, is it the movie that will make Meli regret?
no.
Um,
I've
we'll see.
seen worse, but it's just yeah, we'll talk about it later. I think first we should get into some movie news.
Might attract more people from different countries.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So movie news. Well, not a lot happened this week, but there is a big like movie event that's sweeping the country, the world, which is the second part of Dune, which I
Uh-huh.
believe you watched recently. I just wanted
Yes.
to state that this is like an event that's going on
Yes.
because the hype is really real, from what I understand.
This is an event, guys. I mean,
Mhm.
I totally understand how people are comparing it to
Lord of the
watching
Rings.
Lord of the Rings or Star Wars in theaters, and how like this definitely is solidified as one of the best second installation movies of
Mhm.
all time. I could totally, yeah. We'll talk about it.
Well, there, I there are different personalities and different people prefer different like parts of the different trilogies. Like
Yeah.
I'm a more second movie in the trilogy kind of guy. I've noticed at least definitely um all those Lord of the Rings, Back to the Future,
Oh
the
yeah.
Before trilogy, the
Yeah.
Coker trilogy. I love the second
That's
films
true.
so much.
That's true.
Um so we'll see. I don't know. It's just like and then there are people that like the more bombastic, like Before Midnight, your
Mm-hmm.
Return of the Kings,
Yeah.
your Dune Marauders map or whatever that third one's called. Murderer's Guide to the Galaxy or whatever.
What did you just say?
What is the
What
third one
did
gonna be
you
called?
the third
Midnight
Harry
Mass?
Potter one?
No, the third Dune. Dune 3.
You just said like eight.
Messiah.
You just
Messiah
I'm
map.
sorry,
The map of the Messiah.
you
Map
just
of the
brought eight
Messiah.
different fandoms into here.
What is the part 3 of Dune called? Messiah map.
Dune Messiah.
Dune Messiah, not map. There's no map.
Anyways.
So yeah, just want to state that, and you'll talk about it later. But it did premiere on Letterboxd with a 4.5, and it's now currently sitting at a 4.6 at number
Mm-hmm.
23 in the top 250, which has happened very often recently. But I just think it's an event that we need to talk about
We
because
need
it's
to
kind of crazy
acknowledge.
and definitely sweeping the world right now. So yeah.
So yeah, next piece of news, I guess, is that Damien Chazelle has revealed that he's working on a new script, but he doesn't know if it's going to get made after Babylon. He says that after the bomb that Babylon was in the box office, he doesn't know if he'll get the budget um of the size that he needs anytime soon. Um and he's I guess you can tell he's a little nervous about that. Yeah, I
In a
really
world
hope.
where Martin Scorsese has trouble creating funding for Killers of the Flower Moon, I totally understand. Babylon does have its fans, though. You're a
Yeah,
fan, right?
I'm a fan. My friends are fans. We love Babylon.
It definitely has a following. And I would expect, I don't know, maybe like an A24 pickup, maybe, you know, something for Damien
I mean, he made La La Land and Whiplash. Like,
and First Man as well. And Babylon, which has a lot of faithful followers that say it's a masterpiece. I haven't seen it yet.
but yeah, I just thought that was something a little sad because Damien Chazelle is such a talented director, and the fact that
Yeah.
his next project might not get picked up or funded is crazy.
He looks exactly like my film teacher.
Oh
Or at
wow.
least that's what my friend thinks.
Well,
Um, well, in a perfect world, you would be watching the new Damien Chazelle flick in an AMC. But no one's going to be coming to AMC's anymore because they are releasing 3 more Nicole Kidman ads and creating a campaign of Nicole Kidman ads. So that was announced this week. Really excited to see those on YouTube.
yeah. I don't have an AMC particularly close to me, so I will
Yeah.
also be watching those on YouTube.
I
Um,
love how it's kind of like how they uh re-released Morbius to theaters because they thought people liked it. But the
mhm.
Nicole Kidman one, you can't recreate that magic.
Yeah, you can't.
So, yep,
Well,
really
next
good.
up, the next film by Everything Everywhere All at Once directors Daniel Kwan
Mm,
and Daniel Scheinert, I
Shine
think,
Art.
Scheinart, will be
The
released,
Daniels.
the Daniels, of course, June 12, 2026, guys. It's coming. We have
Coming up.
coming up in 2 years. We have no information about it. We got nothing. No
Well, the
info,
world
no,
might be dead by then.
we don't know, but we
The
have a
world may
date
end.
and it's June 12th, 2026. 2 years.
Yep.
So,
Sorry for the apocalypse mention. This movie has put me in a strange mood. Um, yeah.
yeah,
Looking forward. Looking forward to that. Maybe another Everything Ever All at Once. Just kidding. I'm not the biggest fan of that movie, but a lot of people love it. So
right. Next piece of
the
news, sir.
equivalent to Everything Ever All at Once best picture last year would be like if um what wins this year? Like if I don't know. Sorry. I was
Barbie.
trying to like if Barbie wins this year. Exactly. Like if Barbie wins this year. So let's just talk about how crazy that was.
Yeah.
Um, the last piece of news I have is about the new John Waters film, which we've been tracking
Mm.
its progression
Yes,
recently.
yes, of course.
Wow, I wrote a note, but there's so many spelling errors. N- John Waters' new film, Bast on This Hook. Production will begin. Nah?
Hold on, hold on.
I read something about
Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza being mentioned to
Yes.
act in it. So I guess that's what I was. I think I meant John Waters' new film based on his book
Mm-hmm. It's called Liar Mouth.
Liar Mouth. It begins production with Aubrey Plaza.
Yes.
So yeah,
Well, yes, of course.
yeah. Would do you have a third one?
I do. I did okay, I just heard about this on Twitter, so I thought I would mention it. But Richard Lewis has passed away at the age of 76. I don't know if you know who that is. No, okay. He was a comedian who was very good friends with Larry David, Curb Your
Ah,
Enthusiasm.
yes, I
And
recognize his face.
yeah, they've been doing a lot of stuff together. They've been like best friends since they were like very young. So Rip, want to
Rest in peace.
support, go watch Curb.
I never really fucked with Curb Your Enthusiasm,
Mm,
but I did start it when I was much younger, so maybe
maybe that's why.
now it will.
Right.
I'm just not the biggest Larry David fan, but that's just random. That's for other reasons. I will check out. Maybe this is gonna be what tells me to watch Curb. Start watching Curb. I
Yeah.
remember the first episode very vaguely, something about like someone having a boner or like a tent in his pants.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen the
That's
show?
I've seen like very few episodes, but that seems about right.
Yeah. Um, but let's not talk about what we didn't watch. Let's talk about what we watched.
Hell yeah.
What did you watch this week, Melly?
I literally only watched one thing, and that was
Mhm.
Dune 2, Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
I did give it a 5 stars because it was so good. Like, you can obviously, like, everyone knows that Dune Part 1 was setting up for this movie, and you can tell that, like, um, I don't know how to say his last name, but Denny
Villeneuve.
Villeneuve, whatever. You can
Have you
tell that,
seen that
like,
clip of that guy saying Dennis Villeneuve?
yes.
Do you remember?
Like you can tell that this is like his baby, and he
Mhm.
really took a lot of time to carefully craft each and every piece of this movie. I mean,
Yeah.
the cinematography blew me away. I
Yeah.
mean, wow. I was just sitting in the theater, my mouth was like, um, packed theater to the brim, every seat was sold out. Um, and it was a massive theater too, so that was really cool. Acting off the charts, colors off the charts, um, just everything about it was so good. Um, yeah, I think I cannot wait to see where how it plays out because I haven't read the books and I don't plan on reading the
Mhm.
books, but
Mhm.
so good. Yeah. I
I've
think
I've read the first book.
oh,
I've read the first one.
wow. Well, that's hefty one
Um,
that's like this big.
yeah.
I just think that a big reason why I gave it a lot of there's not a lot of dialogue in the movie, I will say. Compared to other movies, it's pretty sparse,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever. But I think what really made me love it was just the visuals. And Denis
Mhm.
is obviously a master at that, so
Yeah, for sure.
that's it.
Um, Something worth mentioning that I watched this week was I rewatched Singing in the Rain today
Mm,
in film class. Um,
very
you've seen
cool.
it?
No.
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's a classic. You should watch it. I felt like such a theater kid in that room with all the film people being like, and I'm like, and I was getting so giddy over it, and people were looking at me weird. But I don't care. That movie makes me giddy. I love Singing in the Rain. I know a lot of the songs by heart. And I had to try so hard not to sing along,
Well, of
but
course.
I survived that screening. Um, and it was very fun. So yeah, worth mentioning.
Hmm.
Um, that's it. That was a very short one, but
Wow.
I think it's time we get to this hefty, well, not that hefty, but heady film.
Yeah. It's
Um,
definitely
Heady.
something.
It's definitely something. We'll see you guys in the next segment.
Yeah, well, we'll see you guys soon. So
We're back.
we're back. Backgrounds on.
So today we're talking about um sorry, I watched this movie so recently. I finished it about half an hour ago, about
Wow,
40 minutes ago.
that is
So it's
crazy.
very fresh in my mind. From 1983, David Cronenberg. First it controls your mind, then it destroys your body. Videodrome. 88 minutes long, starring the spectacular James Woods and Sonia Smits and
And
Debbie Harry.
Debbie Harry,
Yeah.
Miss
Um,
Blondie.
I've heard a lot about this ever since I saw this on the Criterion shelves at Barnes and Nobles as really cool Criterion packaging.
That's
It's
true.
like a very it's a very legendary movie in the sphere of strange people
Mm-hmm.
in this world that are into cinema. Um, and just art house and film nerds and sci-fi fans and all of that. And you know, it's very twist and turny. There's a lot happening. This is my first David Cronenberg film. First, I want to hear how you felt in the context of something like Crash. If is he like a consistent kind of guy, or is he?
Okay. So
Because you've
this
only seen Crash, or is there another one
yes,
you've
I have
seen?
not seen The Fly. I have not seen Crimes of
The
whatever,
Future,
the future.
or Naked Lunch, The Brood, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I definitely connect more with Crash.
Mm,
It's more my the way if you watch it, you would totally understand the context of that movie and the way it's filmed and everything and like the story um is more of what I connect to in the genre of that kind of like psychosexual
yeah.
theme, you know? Um so I definitely enjoy Crash more.
Well,
Um
why I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Crash might focus a little more on sexuality than this
yes.
movie, because
Yes.
sexuality obviously is a big, there's a lot of sexual imagery, there's a lot of sex in it, and there's a lot of ties between sex and how we view sex,
Yes.
and there's a lot of that in this movie. But I
This
wouldn't
is
say it's the major. It's kind of like the way sex is treated in this movie is kind of a symptom of its main themes, and I don't think sex is like the point, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
this movie is also it focuses a lot more on pornography than
Yes.
sex itself.
Yeah.
Um, while Crash is like the complete opposite kind of where like pornography is like barely there, but it's more heavy set and focused on like sex itself.
Yes.
Um, but I
So,
can definitely but he's definitely like well, when you say consistent, what do you mean by that?
well, is it the same stylistically? What's
Oh,
the?
no, it's very
Because I
different.
feel like the themes between this and what I understand the concept is for something like Crimes of the Future are very similar.
Right.
Um,
It's
but
very it's just different also, but like this movie to me was a little goofier where Crash is like
okay,
very serious, you
I
know?
just see both of them as like very hopeless pieces of art. That's how
To a
I kind
certain
of see Crash,
degree,
just from the marketing and just from like the vibe I get.
to a
But you
certain
tell me.
degree, yeah.
So this is a very interesting watch. The thing I can compare it to most would probably be John Carpenter's They Live, very loosely.
Okay.
Um and I'll let you know if I think a little bit of David Lynch, a teensy bit, just because of the surrealism. But a lot of people compare David Lynch to David Cronenberg and say Cronenberg is like a less smart David Lynch or something. I've heard stuff like that as well, and I
I
don't agree with it.
don't
It's
agree
not
with
like
that.
that big of a thing. Like style, you're just like being stupid. You're just saying these are two filmmakers that make insane stuff.
I don't
But
agree with
they're
that
very
at
different, I
all.
believe, just from Videodrome.
I think the best place for us to start, I think we should just dive in and talk about just like before we get to like any sort of comments, just like let's talk
Mhm.
about Videodrome.
Okay.
So from what we've gathered in the movie is this guy works at this like company that puts porn on this specific channel,
Yeah.
channel 83,
Yeah.
and he comes across a tape called Videodrome.
It's not porn, it's softcore porn, and then like very, from what I understood, a lot of
As
content that's like violent.
it's as I thought it was like as the hours go on, it gets progressively harder.
Yeah.
Like
Something like that.
earlier
That's how
in
his
the
channel
evening, yeah.
works. Yeah.
Earlier in the evening, it's like
Yeah,
softer
that's
stuff,
kind
and
of how
then
I saw it as
yeah.
well. So
So he
yeah,
comes
so
across a tape.
there's this tape. No, so there's this his friend hacks into well, turns out he works for the whole company that's creating Videodrome.
Right.
But his friend hacks into the live channel feed of this strange channel called
Yes.
Videodrome where people are tortured, and this main character Max is very attracted to it
Mhm.
sexually and like physically. Um and
Interesting.
it draws him forward, and he gets kind of trapped in this whole maze. The Videodrome, I guess we'll
Well,
get
he
into it as we go
he
through the plot, but
illegally, like, records it down onto a
yeah,
tape.
yeah.
And then we learn that this tape causes this tumor in your brain that makes you hallucinate.
Well, I don't think it's just one tape because there's many
No, no,
tapes.
no. I know. I mean, like, the content, like, when I okay, the
No,
content
no, I
of
get
it,
what you mean. Yes, yeah. The
because
Videodrome in general.
yes,
Yeah.
and it's like it's very niche audience. Like,
Yeah.
not a lot of people watch this.
So let me first talk about a little bit about the metatextuality here.
Okay, go
Because here
ahead.
we have
Take it
this
away.
Canadian auteur director who is creating a movie for a very small minority of people that are interested in visually insane, visceral and violent films, you know, and creating this film for this audience,
Mhm.
and for an audience of people who, it's gotten even worse since the 80s, but are very desensitized people that are interested in art, and art that borderlines pornography, especially in the 80s, and
Mhm.
violence in media, and people that soak in a lot of this kind of art, are David Cronenberg fans. And so there's that aspect to the movie. This kind of self-deprecating, my movies are kind of Videodrome
Mhm.
in a way. Um, but the movie starts off with our main character being introduced eating leftover pizza and looking at porn. And so that's a really gross way of starting this story, and teaching about this protagonist. And then we see him seeing a Japanese softcore porn tape of a woman unclothing, like helmeting like a dildo, and using it. And then he calls this tape too soft, and he's looking for something tough, and he doesn't seem like a very positive character. And then he's shown a tape of a woman being abused, and instead of being worried about it or anything, he asks the guy that hacked into the tape, into the channel, um, what type of wall they're using, if it's a ceramic wall in the tape or something. And this guy's very desensitized, very reminds me of people on the internet that could possibly be scrolling through tons of porn, and that kind of violence, rape porn, abuse porn, um and just violence and mutilation coming up on their feed, and them eventually that being the only way to get them sexually activated. So that's the kind of associations I had with this protagonist originally. What were you thinking? Because it's yeah.
I mean, pretty much the same exact thing that you just said. And how unlike the way, I guess, I was kind of like thinking how, like, the various degrees of, like, sadism, I guess, and like the behaviors and tendencies of like pornography, and how I guess it kind of reflects like then like not only like the state of you and
Mhm.
us and like our mental state and our mind, but also I guess just like the world itself. And like the worse it gets, I feel like it kind of reflects like the worse the world is, because it's kind of like a lot of people like get not even just like put porn out of the way. Like
Mhm.
a lot of people get like oddly like aroused and turned on by like really um fucked up
Well,
um
yeah.
scenarios and instances that just go on in the world. Like there's a reason why there are so many women out there that like love listening to true crime podcasts. It's like it like fuels this fire inside of them and makes them like
Yeah.
horny almost. It's like, ugh.
So I that's interesting. That's an interesting point because I always found porn as a kind of symptom of the society of the time it's made. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Not that I consume a lot of porn, but like, I feel like that's one of the things that you'd be seeing, like what you'd be seeing on screen and what's filmed and what lines, because pornography is something that's rule breaking and
Mm-hmm.
groundbreaking in a way, because it kind of explores all the taboos and what lines are being crossed constantly, and as we speak more and more lines are being crossed, and this has been touched in modern cinema on a lot, with very very jarring movies such as the Serbian film that tackle how that continues to happen. But I think this is very symptomatic not only of porn as a symptom of society, but also of our general associations with technology and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which I think in a way, I'm kind of jumping from place to place, but this is a very timeless, it's very 80s, but it's very timeless.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Timeless meaning after the invention of technology.
Right.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I don't know. It's just like it's so interesting. Which then makes me wonder, like, do movies like this potentially feed into that?
Yep.
Because obviously like he's making a statement, and like most of his movies like this make a
Statement
statement,
pieces. Yeah.
but to what extent do people get it? And then to what extent do people just get lost in it and then just like ignore the message itself? And then it's just added to that. Um,
Which is
I don't know.
why I think this is so crazy, because I feel like this is the kind of movie that you would find on VHS in the back of like a weird shady video
Yeah.
store. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Which is what's so insane about this, because there's so many layers to the reality of this movie and hallucination and reality, but then you're also getting this meta layer of like, how are we participating in this as viewers, and why is this considered a classic when other movies that are just, um exploitative trash
Hmm.
films, just because it's talking directly to us, does that make it I think it's
Exactly.
fascinating.
Yeah.
1 second. Say your next note. I'm just bringing a charger for my computer because I
Yeah.
do you see me really glitchy as well? Or
Yes,
that's
I
just me?
do. Okay. Yoav's gonna charge his computer up. Um, I kind of like was jumping around with the notes I wrote, because a lot of it was kind of just like, wait, what the fuck is going on? Like, oh my God, he now has a stomach vagina. What is happening? Why is he putting a gun up there? What? And then my other notes were just like more, I guess, like broader notes like that. So a lot of the notes I have written now are like kind of like, what the hell? And just like little statements on things going on. I will say I kind of liked Harlan. I don't know if Harlan is that nerdy guy that was helping
Harlan,
him with the
the guy that
glasses. He
the
was
guy that
funny.
the guy that hacked into the hacker.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. He
He
was
was
cute.
funny.
I don't know. He
Yeah.
was like sweet.
Yeah.
Like obviously later in the movie there's like kind of a twist, but you
Mhm.
don't know if that twist is real. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I guess we'll get to it. So overstimulation, desensitization, it seems to be like in the beginning it seemed to me really as something, and I don't know about you, but something that from the beginning I recognized that it could this film could be very relevant to nowadays. um
I just wonder how people would react to this movie.
yeah.
That's my other thing, because I'm just like, it is so relevant. Yet, I feel like people would be so almost appalled by this movie, even though, like, there's so much worse out there than
Yeah.
this. Like, this
Yeah.
isn't even like the half of it. And like nowadays, I feel like people are so sensitive with filmmaking, and I could see
Yeah.
how there might be like some sort of revolution, uprising of in the next couple years or so where people are gonna start to make extremely sexually charged movies again, like they
Yep.
did back in the 80s. I could totally
Yep.
see that happening. Um, to
Yeah.
kind of fight back against people that are like, well, sex in movies is bad and it's and why do we have to do it? And it's like, what? Like,
This whole thing is kind of like a psych. I I can see this movie happening nowadays. I think this is an important thing for people to watch because it does have a staying power. And it's proven itself as a movie with a lot of staying power and ability to resonate with viewers. And I wouldn't say a remake because then they'd like
no, no,
just
no.
be making it about TikTok or something. But I
No,
think it's
again,
something that
a
that
remake would
should be
not, no.
rebooted into the mainstream somehow, and these ideas need to be reminded to us constantly.
Mhm.
Um, because this treatment, I guess I'll skip forward a little. This treatment of our own desensitization and our self-inflicted um uh, our
Like pain?
self-inflicted overstimulation
Mm,
that sprouts from our technology and our media is a disease and a
yes.
tumor causing disease that leads to violence
Yes.
in and real life repercussions. Now, in the beginning of the movie, you're getting this like kind of question being posed about this guy who makes all this trashy, freaky content and puts it on his channel, and he says, "Oh, it gives an avenue for these people to like enjoy their weird desires, but not translate it to the real world," which has always been like a problem, especially
Mhm.
with like video games and stuff
Yeah.
nowadays. Uh, that those kind of questions. What do you think of that kind of argument?
I I don't I've been asked this before, especially the video game thing where it's like if you play video games, is it like gonna make you more violent?
Yeah.
Like it's I'm not a freaking psychologist, so I obviously like don't, like I don't study brainwave
Right, right.
patterns to like be able to answer, but I think there's like a certain I don't think kids are gonna go out and buy guns and start shooting people in real life. No, but I do
Mhm.
think it does alter your mood and your attitude to a certain extent. So at least like for example, my brother, he plays video games, whatever.
Mhm.
And no, he's not violent. He's not physically violent. He's not again purchasing weapons and
Yeah.
hurting people with them, but you can notice but you notice a shift in his attitude and how he's become a little ruder or a little
Yeah.
snappier. And I think it's it translates more like that
Yeah.
where it could be the same when it comes to I guess porn and sex where it's like okay like people okay maybe they're not going to beat you and like choke you out. Well, I mean normal people, let's just put it that way,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But, they could possibly be a little ruder in bed and,
Yeah.
translate that sort of attitude, and then that obviously causes all other problems, but
There's with porn, I will say is one thing where it's like there's healthy consumption and there's unhealthy consumption, and it's
right.
really easy to go from
The
healthy to unhealthy
the lines get blurred
for
real
there's so
quick.
many cases.
Mhm.
So there's that. In terms of media, I totally agree with you. I think there's a lot of violent media nowadays. I think we've kind of lost, even though there's all this talk about like lessening sex and like all this horrible media literacy skills that all these people have. I think we've also lost touch with what wholesome media is. Wholesome meaning like softer
Yes.
filmmaking,
Yes.
um slower, cuter movies that,
Mhm.
or like small comedy dramas. The only small one I can think of recently that kind of reminds me of stuff that I really appreciate from the 70s is like The Holdovers. Like
Yep,
we don't
yep.
get enough of those soft movies with no violence and not too much sex, like human dramas. I just feel like I haven't seen that enough.
Mhm.
Um, so there's that, but there's also, anyways, there is a lot of violence in our media, and we do get desensitized. I feel like watching this movie like such a dirty creep because I'm watching this and I'm watching this scene where he's piercing her ears and having sex with her and stuff, and I'm like, I'm s- I'm a young man and I feel like this should bother me so much, but I'm just like I've seen worse in movies. You know
I
what I
know.
mean? Which makes me feel like a freak.
I
So
know.
that's why this movie makes me feel so icky because I feel like I'm watching like Videodrome and not reacting to it. But that's what I think is so genius about this
Mhm.
screenplay is cuz he's making you he's shaming himself and shaming you. And
Yeah.
I felt so it's such a horror movie in that there's no jump scares and obviously there's the gore in that,
Which
but
I
it's
do want to
such an
touch upon when we
it's
get there.
horrifying in how much it accuses you. I just felt so accused and horrified, and it's like a very directed
Yeah.
um whip at you.
No, because like watching it, it's like, okay, this is kind of gross, but yeah, it's like, okay, I've seen worse. Yet
Yeah.
at the same time, I do feel disgusted, and I'm like, like, oh,
But I
this
feel
is
like most of that disgust that I was feeling was like at myself for not
mm.
like that for that not bothering me enough.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I see, I
That's what
see.
I was feeling at least. So yeah, it just feels very. I totally agree. It just feels
Yeah.
very accusatory. Um, so I feel like I could split this movie in before the hallucinations and after the hallucinations.
Yeah, let
'Cause-
let's get to the I want to talk
So
about
wait, hold on.
okay.
Let me just go through things really fast.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Sorry.
there's this whole thing with the woman, before she leaves to Philadelphia,
Yeah.
where does she
Pittsburgh,
go to?
Pittsburgh
Pittsburgh.
Nation.
Sorry. Um, where he has this dialogue with her, this whole thing about porn is like a big thing in the first half of the movie.
Hmm.
What's this Videodrome? What is it? Torture, murder, mutilation. Well, it's not exactly porn. Who says it's not exactly porn? Because what's the lines of what porn? Because everyone likes different stuff, and more people are getting more and more evil with their sexual taste. I thought that was an interesting interaction. Um, so the sound design is so squishy and like from the beginning, especially in that sex scene with the ear piercing,
Oh, okay, that was
it's so
making me
squishy and icky and moist, and I really don't like it.
neither do I.
Um,
I
so
did like the organ music though. I know that was more towards
yeah,
the end, but that was cool.
um, who is the composer of this? Is like some kind of famous composer. Let me find it for you. Um, the composer
Howard
is Howard
Shore.
Shore, who look at his filmography:
Let's see.
Seven, The Silence of the Lambs, All of the Lord of the Rings,
Oh,
The Departed,
wow.
Spotlight, The Game, Videodrome, After Hours, bunch of Marty Scorsese, Mrs. Doubtfire. This
Wow.
guy has a big thing, and I love this score. So yeah, score is great, sound design is great. Um, so
Oh
this
my
I have
God.
like a little theory about Max knowing that Videodrome is like real torture from the beginning of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
because he has this away line where he's telling her not to go to Philadelphia, and he calls Videodrome by the adjective mondo, which was um which is a reference to the film Mondo Cane, because Mondo Cane started this whole Mondo movement of film, which is those death documentaries
Oh,
where they're
okay.
just compilation traces of death, or Mondo Cane, like real violence and
Yeah, yeah,
abuse and
yeah.
torture, those kind of movies. Um, so he calls it Mondo before it's even revealed to him that it's real life. And then there's this restaurant scene where it's revealed to him, but the old woman reveals to him that Videodrome is for real. And then James
Mm-hmm.
Wood like doesn't really react that much. He doesn't play too surprised.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe he's like aware of it, and he was just like subconsciously knows that this is something evil. Um, it just feels the first half just feels really hopeless, pessimistic. Um, there's a part where he watches Videodrome while doing work, which kind of
Mm-hmm.
reminded me of like second screen content and that whole thing. Because he's watching, like, think about how desensitized you have to be if you have to watch torture and mutilation and that kind of stuff, and you're watching in the background as second screen content, which is
Yeah.
interesting. Which is second screen content is obviously a very, very new term. Um, but yeah. there's this line: television is reality and reality is less than television. I can translate that to literally any kind of content, any kind of Instagram, social media, any kind of YouTube, whatever. How we value life and content in
Of course.
different um so and then it doesn't go I was expecting it to go surreal, but I kind of forgot this movie gets really surreal because
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't get too surreal until that first hallucination where he slaps the woman, and then it's a whole thing. And
Yes.
I like this direction and it lent to very, very cool ideas. I just feel like I resonated a little bit more with the themes and messages that were explored pre-hallucination, pre-surreal moment,
I think it's like,
um
well, I
a
think then
little
that,
more. I'll say that.
well, if everything we talked about is like kind of like pre-hallucination, post hallucination, like where he's there and he's in it and he's immersed,
Yep.
is kind of just showing like, I guess it's like how once you go too far in it ruins your life. Like obviously like this
Yeah,
is a very extreme example because
totally.
you're not gonna turn into your cassette tapes aren't gonna turn into um
Right,
human
right,
reproductive organs and your stomach is not gonna grow a vagina and all that stuff. But like
right.
it just shows that like once you're so far, so deep into it, like
Yep.
this is what happens to you. It consumes your life.
I appreciate that in that way. And I also like how the second half kind of becomes more like entertaining in that I
Yeah.
feel like it has like this cult kind of goofy feel to it.
Hmm.
Um
Yeah, there was a
not
few parts I
camp,
was
not
laughing.
campy, but like you
No, definitely
80s,
some
like
campy
campy
elements.
campy 80s kind of vibe, but it also has this very terrifying feel to it all and very accusatory thing.
Yeah.
This treatment of television technology, desensitization, and overstimulation as a disease that grows a tumor within you, one that makes the victim hallucinate. What have we created? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Um,
a man, sorry,
no, no.
sorry.
No, please finish. So then,
This professor is revealed to have died, and all that's left is just a collection of videos. And he didn't care that he died physically because he lives on his new flesh, which is
yes.
a term that pops up later. I love that little whole lore aspect. It's not really explained what this new flesh is, but it
Mm-hmm.
just feels cool. Um, and his new flesh, or at least how I interpreted it, is how his new flesh is like these cassettes and these videos, and he lives on through technology
Yeah.
and this desensitizing, hallucinate enforcing. Yeah, so thought that
Yeah.
was interesting.
My next few notes are just like kind of like funny, like I don't know, like my next ones were just like tape come to life. What the fuck? Sex with TV is absolutely wild. Um, stomach vagina, what is going on? Um, I was just like baffled because I was not really expecting that, but I do want to applaud David Cronenberg because
Oh yeah.
I already knew I knew that his body horror was like off the charts, but
He's considered the king of body
yeah.
horror.
But
Yeah,
this was insanity. It was
yeah.
crazy, like
The practical
so
effects.
awesome. Like again, you don't see stuff like that in movies anymore, which is so sad. But
Yep.
like he really just, oh my God, I was like, wow, this is insane. This is so cool. Like to be able to have a job like that where you can like, oh my God, so cool. Oh,
The only person that's really continuing his legacy is actually his son, Brandon Cronenberg.
yeah.
So
Which his directorial debut was not great.
you watched it? Not Infinity Pool, his
Oh,
earlier film.
oh, never mind.
The
I
one
thought
with the
Infinity Pool
yellow
was his
cover.
first.
No, the one with the yellow cover. It's considered very good actually. I don't.
Let me see.
You find it. Brandon Cronenberg is his first movie was considered much better, much higher than. Oh yeah, but I love
Oh,
practical
yes,
effects.
Possessor. Yes, you're
Possessor.
right.
Yeah. But you have seen Infinity Pool. But
Yes.
doesn't he continue this kind of body horror, kind of
Not
practical
to
kind of vibe to it?
Yeah, not to the extent of his father, obviously,
Yeah.
but I can see him
Yeah.
reaching that level one day,
Yeah. That would be so crazy. David Cronenberg is your dad.
right? That like, oof.
That is
I
strange.
would be a little
That's kind of,
concerned.
I think about this sometimes with like various filmmakers where it's like, how does David Lynch's daughter feel? Like when did he show her Eraserhead? You know what I mean?
Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like how do you show your daughter or son that you made um Crash? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh
Like
God, I'd be concerned. Let's just put it
how do
that
you
way.
how would David Lynch introduce um like Inland Empire to his daughter? Is what I'm saying.
Well,
Or Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. Like my
yeah.
dad made that movie. That's crazy. I don't know. I mean, he's all of our papas. So. The the owners of this whole ordeal make missile guidance systems for NATO. I thought that was a really fun throwaway line. Where it was like, okay, so this is like ingrained in our like world and in our government and whatever. He looks kind of cute with glasses, like like cute, not cute, like attractive, like cute, like
Which one?
Max.
The main
He was
guy?
wearing those goofy. He was wearing those goofy glasses. It was kind of cute.
I did not know. No.
Um, this weird helmet prop is so. I love the design. I love the design.
It reminds me of that video game character. I don't
I'm kind of
Pyramid
reminded
Head
of
or
the
something. I don't know.
Star Wars kind of thing. I don't remember what it's called.
Mm.
I it, I wrote, dude, Apple Vision Pro.
Yes, yes, that should be the new Apple Vision Pro, not whatever the hell we have now. It should be that. I agree.
um,
But
Experiencing
bye.
violence releases chemicals in your body. This is like the theory for Videodrome. Experiencing these violent acts through video releases chemicals in your body, which make you susceptible to being infected by Videodrome, which is this kind of mindset hallucinatory disease that like infects you. I thought that was really interesting conceptually. Um, but what you know, you're kind of trapped, throughout the last leg of this movie, you're kind of trapped in this loop of is he hallucinating this? Is he actually killing people? What's going on? He's whipping a television with his thing, and we want to be released from our own technology to destroy it. So there's this image of him whipping this television, which is like kind of the hatred. I read it as like the hatred that we inflict on the technology that's kind of destroying
Mm.
us. And then he wakes up, but I don't know if he's still hallucinating, and sees that he was really whipping the old woman who he finds dead in her bed, and that he killed her. But he feels bad, so he calls his friend who's actually working for Videodrome, but his friend doesn't see it, so I guess he's still hallucinating. But he
No, he
feels
def
bad for hurting fellow mankind, which is like this guy still has some kind of humanity in him. How can we find, through all this desensitization, how can we still find humanity within ourselves, and how can we still let certain issues and certain deaths and certain violence affect us? How do we ensure that we still have this within ourselves? I was just thinking about that a little.
Yeah.
um
I
what are you thinking about this whole like cycle of hallucinations and shit?
well, I just think that again, it's kind of like what I said earlier. Like I don't think any of it was real. I just think he
Yeah.
became so fully immersed and he could not like function without thinking about like porn at all times. So it kind of became one with his reality.
Yeah, which is kind of like how people let porn affect them in real life, porn
Yeah,
addicts, and um
it's
you
sad,
know
but
all this
it's
misogynistic, rape applauding pornography, and how that affects people and turns them into incels or whatever.
yep,
um
yep.
that kind of translates to modern certain lives as well. um I just wrote, man, I can't tell if we're still hallucinating or not.
Mhm.
His hand is now screwed to his gun. He must kill his partners for the sake of Videodrome being shown to the masses. And then he manages to use his hallucinations to his advantage and kill two perpetrators of Videodrome, which is kind of a small victory against their technology. We are destroying ourselves with our own technology and reliance on our self-imposed overstimulation. We must try to learn and to acknowledge it and to somehow control it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
there is no escaping the power of Videodrome. He has only killed these people through his own hallucinations and his own through the limits of his own imagination and our reality. And Videodrome and the new flesh are revealed to really be on the same team. You know what I mean? They
Mhm.
just feel like the same kind of concept at the end of the day.
Yeah, because you can't get rid of these it's like you're never going to get rid of porn. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. It will never go away. And
Not just porn, but like violence.
well, yeah, and then you'll
Yeah.
never and those tendencies will never go away regardless of if um you have violent media out there that people are watching. People will always have violent tendencies. That's just how humans are. That's just how we're wired.
Yup.
And so it's synonymous, one and the same, baby.
Yeah.
One and the same. I think it
It's
was kind of funny though whenever he was like, put this tape in you, and then he put his hand in and he was like, ah, and it like his hand came out and it was like, yeah, that was
there was
pretty
one time where it came out and it was clean, and then there was one time where it came out and it was really disgusting. And then when the other guy put his hand in him, it was no, it was also disgusting.
yeah.
Thought that was an interesting detail. I don't know. Um so um that's really it. And then there's the ending. What were
Mm-hmm.
you thinking about this ending? I don't know.
Um,
I don't know
the
what to
ending where
say.
he's talking with the daughter.
No, well, there's that whole dialogue which we barely even talked about, but yeah, there's that
Wait,
whole
which
thing.
what was the
But
ending again?
the
Why am I
ending,
blanking?
where long live the new
Oh,
flesh, you
duh,
know
when
what I
he
mean?
kills himself.
Yeah, well, twice technically,
What?
because
Yeah.
he like sees himself within his own like media consumption kind of thing.
Well, I guess it's kind of like the ultimate pain-inflicting moment. Like that's the
Yeah,
highest you can get. That's the farthest you can go. Like
yeah,
you're gonna shoot yourself for your own pleasure and enjoyment because like
that's an interesting point.
you've
It's an
become
interesting point.
so desensitized to it and so immersed in it that nothing affects you anymore except for taking your own life. Like,
Yeah, because that's the ultimate thing.
mhm,
That's what I feel like is being said.
yeah,
You're right. I didn't even think about that. Because at the end of the day, that's the ultimate like the most like violent self-inflicting like thing you can do.
yep,
And that's like the end.
yeah,
It's the only end of the line to this cycle. This like really, really tough cycle of life. Very sad.
very sad. Whew. Sorry.
Um, do you have any other notes or should we move to ratings?
I don't have notes. My last note was just that I liked Crash more, but I already said that. So
um I'm looking forward to checking out more of Cronenberg's work.
me too.
I
I have to
think
watch The Fly.
yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing The Fly. Obviously, that one's very highly rated
Mm-hmm.
amongst everyone. Um, but yeah.
You go first.
Um, okay, I'm gonna go for this one for a solid 4 teetering of 4.5. Probably a 4.5 on Letterboxd. I thought it was
Wow.
great. I thought it was great.
Wow.
I really had a fun time. I think there was like a campy, like goofy aspect to it, but it was also very painful and accusatory and sad, but also really genuinely just creative. Just like these are creatives working and being creative. And I just like that. I just like how
Wow.
creative it is. So probably 4 or 4.5. If you guys follow me on Letterboxd, you can get the final kind of thing. So yeah.
I'm having like a hard time rating the movie, but
Mm.
originally I was going more for like a 3.5, but
Why
like
though?
I think, well,
Why?
no, I think after, I don't know. I'm like, oh, but like a 4, I think I'll probably go more towards a 4 stars.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm happy you chose that
Hmm.
because I think it's not really a three and a, in my opinion.
It's not
It's
even,
better.
it's not really a 3.5 for like, I don't know. It's not like the message or anything. I just think like
Yeah,
certain aspects of it were not like my favorite, maybe.
not
Maybe,
your
I don't
cup of
know.
tea, really. Yeah, I don't know. These kind of movies aren't really my cup of tea either. I have
Yeah.
like my tastes and like I'm not the biggest like I don't really fuck with like this like I think it's so cool the special effects and the gore and stuff. I think it's awesome, but
Hmm.
I can't say that it really like turns me on like
Oh,
not
no.
sexually like film wise, you know
Oh,
what I mean?
well, yeah, yeah.
I'm not like ooh gore. Like I heard this movie's really good. Like I'm not the kind of person to watch slash enjoy Terrifier. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, no. That's why I don't watch that. Like, mm-mm.
Like
I'm
that's
okay.
not my kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's just my thing.
I guess it's more for me, it's like I do enjoy kind of like, I don't know, maybe this one was just like very in your face, which is why I was like,
Yeah,
I
it's not very
prefer
subtle either.
I
It's not
prefer
very
when it's more
subtle either.
subtle, like piano teacher. Even Crash is
Yeah,
more subtle. Like, yes, like it's like the sexual imagery is very in your face, but the message is more subtle.
yeah. So yeah, that's our thoughts on Videodrome. Let us know what you thought because although I think this message is very straightforward, I bet there's so many different ways to read
Of
this
course.
this movie. So
Many
yeah.
different interpretations.
Shall we get to my pick?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
excited to see what he's gonna pick. Let's just say before we started filming, it took him a good 30 minutes to
Well, guys,
finally pick
guys,
something.
I want to admit something. I want to make another cut in the podcast and to just weigh between two options for like 5 minutes max. And
Okay.
then we'll be right back.
Okay, we can do that. We'll do
Okay,
that.
see you in a second.
Yeah. We're back. We're back. We're
Okay,
back. We're back.
I've got
He's
it.
got it. He's got
Um,
it.
after a lot of sifting around, I
Wait,
was
wait.
like, we
Okay,
should
go.
do a movie with that is has a female protagonist because it's
Yes.
Women's History Month,
Women's
and we
History
should do
Month.
something with a female protagonist. And we haven't done it since Double Life of Veronique, which is like what 2 podcasts ago. So,
Yep.
so this is a very recent movie. Um, very recent. An
Oh.
Oscar nominated one as well that none of us have watched, but had gotten a lot of hype in the year that it released, which was the year 2021. Um, the film is from the country of Denmark, and it is and it chronicles 4 years in the life of Julie, a young woman. And it's directed by Joachim Trier, and it's called The Worst Person in the World.
Oh.
That is my pick.
Oh. Oh
Yeah,
my.
I've been meaning to watch this for a long time.
Dude, you
So
want to know something? You want
yeah,
to know something? You want to know something so secretive right now.
I just want to know something so secret.
I want to say the week that I picked The Graduate, okay, the other movie that I was this close to picking was Worst Person in the World.
No way.
Literally, like this close to picking, and then I was like, you know what? No, no, no. I really want to watch The Graduate. Like,
Well, it's funny because they're both kind of about people lost in their 20s, from
huh?
what I understand.
Oh, you're right. Oh my God. Wait, I'm so excited. I've been wanting to watch this
Funny
for
you were
so
thinking about
long.
that. Yeah, this might make me very upset and resonate with me too hard, or we'll see.
Nah,
Or no.
well, you're not a woman
I'm
in your
not 20.
20s.
That's true. That's true.
Not
A lot of
yet.
people have resonated with it, even men.
Yeah.
So, even men.
Oh my God, I'm very
So
excited.
looking forward to watching it. Thought it was a little twisted, a little different from Videodrome for sure.
Yeah, very
Hopefully more
different.
straightforward. Guys, we should watch more straightforward movies in this podcast, you know what I mean?
Yeah. What's a very straightforward movie?
What straightforward movies have you even
Dunkirk?
seen? Dude, what?
I don't know.
Why is that the first thing you thought of?
Because I was thinking war movies are usually pretty straightforward.
That's the thing, not always though. Well, we
Okay,
did
but
watch
like,
Thief recently, which was very straightforward. But like Barry Lyndon is not straightforward. The
no.
Double Life, not The Graduate, not
No.
The Red Shoes. The Holdovers, yes. Passages, no. Gimme Shelter, no. True Stories, absolutely not. Blue Velvet,
Yeah.
no. Mishima, no.
Yeah.
Clute, no. Pananavore, no. Bones and all. You know, we watched some very strange films. So
Okay, it's funny because one of like my family friends, like he his dad subscribed to our YouTube channel and then he was like going through the movies that we reviewed. He was like, I know two of these. And I was like,
which ones were they?
I don't know. He didn't give a name.
Probably Oppenheimer and The Graduate.
Probably. Yeah.
Everyone that I introduced the podcast to, I'm like, yeah, I do this podcast, and then they like scroll through you, and I was like, yeah, you should, you know, if you know any of the films, just watch the podcast for that one, and then they all end up being like, oh, I'll watch the Oppenheimer one. I'm like, no, that was the
Yeah,
first one we
yeah.
did.
Yeah. No, my friend watched
No.
it. My friend watched it and he was like, "You guys kind of talked a lot of," and I
What?
was like, "Look, it was our first one,
We talked a lot
okay?"
about what? I need to rewatch that.
He was just saying
I
that our
look.
movie news and stuff were really long. And I was like,
Dude,
"Okay."
look at me right now. Watch, go on the YouTube page and look at me right now and tell me that I don't look like I've changed so much. I look like
No,
a different person.
we both look really different. We both look really different.
Do you see me though? Are you looking over me right now?
Let me pull it up.
Dude, this was 7 months ago, and I'm not kidding. I look like a child.
Let me see, let me see. Oh my God, why isn't it loading? Please load.
Like
Um,
this specific episode, I don't know what it is about, and the Amelie episode as well. Why do I look like a little kid?
your
Have
hair
I
is
changed
bigger.
that much in the last 7 months? I
I
feel like my
look
face is like chubbier.
No, mine too. Mine too.
Both of us, maybe.
I will say though, it was during the summer. I look so much more tan, first of all. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I remember like this was
Maybe you've Michael
after.
Jackson.
Oh, what? What?
Because then he turned from darker, or did he turn from lighter skin to dark?
Guys, wait, I'm so
I
sorry.
don't remember.
Call back, call back, call back to Yoav getting a haircut. This is what he looks like with the
Oh God! Oh
haircut.
God! Guys, that's what I'm saying. That doesn't even look like me.
That
You're
is Yoav with
embarrassing
the
me. You're
haircut.
embarrassing me. You're embarrassing me. I don't. That's the same. That doesn't even look like me. Like one, I look like a kid. Two, my haircut is horrendous.
It's okay. It's okay, guys. We all get bad
Okay.
haircuts.
Sorry for the sidetrack, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Yeah.
Watch Worst Person in the World, or else you're the worst person in the world. And I hope you watch Videodrome because you wouldn't have understood the discussion
Yeah,
and what
like
all the
at
talk
all.
about tummy vaginas. Um,
Hmm.
and if you don't watch Videodrome,
Oh, why is he smiling like that? Oh, okay, guys.
I'll
I think
put you on the show.
no, guys. You don't want that to happen to you, okay?
Anyways,
I will put a tape in your
um,
stomach. Okay, that's it.
shove it. See you in the next episode.
Next episode. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.